Click on Exercise 1B. Until now we've been using the Power Query Editor in a very visual way and using this list on the right hand side to see which transformations we've applied and in what order. Occasionally we've referenced the formula bar here at the top, which gives us a coded representation of how that step has been applied. We can see all of the code for our query at once by clicking in the Advanced Editor here on the Home tab. Here we can see our code written in M language, which Power Query uses to record everything we do. M is a functional language, which means that each line of code returns a new answer. Each line adds a new transformation to the previous. So let's look at an example here. This line is named remove columns, and the function we apply is table.removeColumns. Don't worry too much about the syntax at this stage, I just want you to understand roughly how the code is working. So we're removing columns from promoted headers, which is the previous step, here. And the columns that we are deleting are the metric and ref1 columns. Notice there that this row in the code referenced the previous line in the code, and this line referenced its predecessor, and so on and so on. And this remove top rows one references the source line, which is the first. Each line of code therefore builds on the last by referencing the last and adding a new transformation. Also notice that Power Query queries always start with the word let. This is where you define all the parts of your query. That's then followed by an in statement and then a single line of code. And that single line of code is where you say which one of these lines would you like to return as the answer to the query. In most basic queries, you'll be selecting the final line here as the answer in your in statement. Notice that each line ends with a comma, except for the very last line of the let statement, which does not end in a comma. Think about it like a list of items. You'd put commas between the items, but you wouldn't put a comma after the last item. If you're missing any of those commas between the lines, you'll get a syntax error at the bottom, token comma expected. So look out for that when you've been changing things in the Advanced Editor. As you get more experience with Power Query, you'll learn how to edit queries directly in the Advanced Editor, which actually gives you far more possibilities in terms of advanced functionality. But for now, I just wanted to give you a brief introduction of this coded language of M, which is used to record the steps of your automation.